The following contains references to sleep deprivation, memory loss, death, suffering, and lost keys. Listener discretion is advised. An 80% attention rate is also highly recommended. AI was not used in this production. Counting Sheepzzz. Part 1. Each night when I go to sleep, I die. And the next morning when I wake up, I am reborn. Mahatma Gandhi.
Here you are again, eyes wide open, 3 a.m, tossing and turning with your mind full of meaningless clutter that won't leave you alone. And you have that big presentation tomorrow at work. There has to be a better way. Well, my friend, now there is. Imagine going to bed and sleeping through the night and waking up feeling fully refreshed and ready to take on the world. It's now possible to achieve this with our Counting Sheepzzz sleep system. Counting Sheepzzz produces a sonic bath that washes your mind clean of the clutter and lets you become the best you can be. Counting Sheepzzz uses cutting-edge technology paired with medically proven sleep techniques that tap into your brainwaves to deliver what sweet dreams are made of. Try Counting Sheepzzz for a free 90-day trial, and we're sure you'll be sleeping like a baby again. Sleep tight, my friend.
Hey, wakey wakey. Wow, you were really out of it. Rise and shine, Buttercup. That's better. Are you ready to hear another juicy tale? Well, here goes. Anna arrives at the office of Dr. Schwartz, her doctor's office, a half an hour earlier than needed. She had nothing better to do anyhow, as she was up all night. Again. Dr. Schwartz is going to try a new cocktail of pills to help her battle sleep deprivation. This has been going on for a couple of weeks now, and Anna is feeling more and more drained. I really hope that this time it works, she says to herself as she leaves the office. Anna is one of millions of poor souls who suffer from some sort of sleep deprivation, and the problem only seems to grow worse in our ever-increasingly stressful lives. Anna is a Grammy Award-winning classically trained composer and guitarist who tours the world playing solo and with large orchestras. So, with all that traveling through different time zones, her circadian rhythms are constantly in flux. Unfortunately for Anna, Dr. Schwartz's pill concoction doesn't work for her, and she has yet another sleepless night. She turns on the news in the morning and hears the ad for the Counting Sheepzzz, a new app that is guaranteed to make you sleep. She is desperate for a good night's sleep and tries it. That night, she lies in bed and turns on the Counting Sheepzzz app to try it out. she awakes to birds singing. She rubs her eyes and realizes that she slept right through the night. Wow, it worked. She skips the 90-day free trial and signs up right on the spot. Over the next couple of months, she has no sleep issues at all. In fact, she feels great. However, she notices a change in her daily routine. Anna seems to forget where she left her keys and has to search all around to find them every time she needs them. The Counting Sheepzzz app, made by Zorcon Incorporated, is getting 5-star ratings across the board. It has changed the lives of 1.5 million users and counting. The app just keeps growing in popularity. Doctors are prescribing Counting Sheepzzz over traditional medications and treatment. It is that good, and it is revolutionizing sleep. Anna is fast asleep and dreaming of playing a concert in front of 20,000 people. She's just about to take a bow for her final encore when her ringing phone startled and awakened her. It's her son Will, who's concerned that she missed their weekly phone call 2 hours ago. She assured him that everything was fine and that she just overslept thanks to the Counting Sheepzzz app. They both laughed. It really works.
Sleep tight, my friend.
She hung up with Will and thought about how vivid her dream of her performance was. The next day, she goes shopping at the mall. Anna is in the mall for about an hour. When she leaves the mall to drive back home, she forgets where she parked the car. She walks the entire mall parking lot for 38 minutes until she finally finds her car and drives home. "I'm really forgetful," she says to herself, and brushes it off. Zorcon never really reveals how they can achieve their remarkable success for the sleep-deprived. In fact, besides the address of Zorcon, the public has very little knowledge of this exciting new startup. There are some generic-looking corporate videos about the company online, and of course those catchy ads.
Sleep tight, my friend.
But besides the app itself, that's about it. It is a privately held company and really doesn't have to reveal any of their inner workings. Several more months pass, and Anna's memory is only getting worse. But she's sleeping great. She goes and sees Dr. Schwartz again. He sends her for further testing with a neurologist, Dr. Brown. Dr. Brown comes back with some very concerning news. Anna has dementia, and it seems to be rapidly advancing. Anna will not let Dr. Brown's diagnosis stop her from living her life. She keeps this news to herself. She embarks on a 10-day tour of New England, performing the classics and some of her new material. The tour is going really well until the Boston date. She checks into her hotel, the Boston Ritz-Carlton, at 5 p.m., ready for a relaxing evening and an early bedtime with the Counting Sheepzzz app, so she will be fresh for her performance the next day. Police find Anna wandering the streets of Boston that night, walking like a zombie through traffic and mumbling incoherently. paramedics took her to Boston General. After 6 days in the hospital, Anna's feeling much better. The doctors chalk it up to dehydration and stress. Perhaps she should slow down and try to relax more. Anna's mind swirls and swirls. She can't seem to recall anything. Police found Anna wandering again, about 1.5 miles from her home. She's in a downward spiral, soon forgets her own name. Sadly, Anna ends up locked down in a memory unit at Shady Hills Rest Home. She lives out the rest of her brief life in a confused state, a prisoner of her own mind. Anna passed away in her bed at Shady Hills Rest Home 3 months after being diagnosed by Dr. Brown with dementia that later went into full-blown Alzheimer's disease and ultimately death. Anna's story was only a small part of a much larger problem. Dementia and Alzheimer's disease was spreading at an alarming rate across the globe. Why was this happening? What was the cause? Many developed nations put together highly skilled teams of doctors and scientists to figure out what was driving this scourge. Anna's son, Will, laid in his bed crying, thinking about his mother. She went so fast. She was too young. Why? He thought to himself. Will reached out to Dr. Brown to understand Alzheimer's better, but Dr. Brown's answer confused Will even more. He said that Anna's case was the most unusual case of Alzheimer's he had ever encountered. The speed at which she declined was astonishing. Most patients take years to die from Alzheimer's. Your mother went in months. Will thought she was better off when she couldn't sleep. It all started with that stupid Counting Sheepzzz app. I blame the app for what happened to my mom, Will said to himself. Will made it his personal vendetta to investigate and possibly sue the Zorkon Corporation into oblivion. As an attorney by trade and a software engineer by hobby, he knew he was the perfect person to pursue this. Zorkon launched the Counting Sheepzzz app in 2024. They also have a branch office a mere 40-minute drive from Will's house.
I think I'll pay them a visit,
Will says.
You have arrived at 1234 Crisfield Drive.
Will goes to the front door of the local branch office of Zorkon, but the place looks abandoned. The door is locked, but he can see through the window that nothing fills the space inside, except an overturned desk and a lot of dust.
Doesn't look like anybody's been in this building for a very long time. Strange.
Will mumbles to himself. Will decides on a different approach and writes a letter of inquiry on how the Counting Sheepzzz app works, and most importantly, if there are any known side effects of using the app. He sends it off to Zorkon from the "We would love to hear from you" section of the Counting Sheepzzz app homepage. The response was completely AI generated. Does Zorkon have Marginal, spotty customer service? Will thought to himself. Will expands his Counting Sheepzzz net search and starts posting all over social media to see if anyone else has had a loved one go through what his mom did with Counting Sheepzzz. The replies came in thick and fast. Deaths because of a rapid onset of Alzheimer's disease was very prevalent. His worst fears about Zorkon were coming to light. But one individual stood out from the respondents to Will's internet blast. Robert Martin's father had passed away only a week ago, and he had similar suspicions about Zorkon. He told Will in very clear terms that he would do whatever it takes to get to the truth and find out if Zorkon played a role in their loved one's passing. Robert is an AI research scientist, and he has a plan. Robert has helped create AI detection tools to detect when people are using AI for suspicious purposes. More recently, he developed an advanced AI tool that lets you know when an AI is listening. You know, when you casually mention buying a shower curtain or whatever product, and suddenly you have ads and reviews for those products popping up all over your devices. Robert's new tool lets you know when apps are actively listening to you or you're really stalked by AI. He calls his app Searchlight. Will downloaded the 30-day free trial of Counting Sheepzzz, laid down on a nice comfy couch, turned on the app, and set it to the hibernation setting, the most powerful level that Counting Sheepzzz offers. Simultaneously, Robert turned on Searchlight to see if the Counting Sheepzzz app emitted any AI signals and attached an EEG device to Will's skull.
Oh man,
Robert exclaimed.
there is definitely AI present here. It's listening to you and probing you while you sleep. In fact, there are thousands of signals I've never seen before. This app is off the charts with AI activity.
Searchlight recorded the entire half-hour session. Robert would sort through all the data later. Will slept like a baby. Counting Sheepzzz really works. Robert examined all the recorded Searchlight data. He found the typical listening algorithms that are always tracking us, but there were also sleep waves appearing in the data. The waves used in Counting Sheepzzz had a relaxing effect on people and put you to sleep. These waves contained a cocktail of differing frequencies that, when arranged in a certain order, instantly made the human brain slow down to sleep, really almost shutting down the brain. Robert looked at it like an on-off switch for the brain. He found that they were manipulating the delta and theta brain waves by mixing in different frequencies from 1 hertz to 1 kilohertz, with binaural beats laced in at differing intervals.
Wow, fascinating.
Robert thought to himself as he once created sonic soundscapes on his YouTube channel for relaxation. It never really took off, but he understood how frequencies could affect the human brain. The sophistication, brilliance, and complexity of the app, and whoever created it, stunned him. When he lined up the EEG data to the Searchlight data, he found that the Counting Sheepzzz app could process slightly ahead of Will's brain, and when he had a thought that might awaken him, the Counting Sheepzzz app would send a sleep wave to counter that thought and cancel it out, so Will would never wake up while Counting Sheepzzz was on, which was brilliant. But what interested Robert even more was the amount of data that was being transferred back into the Counting Sheepzzz app from Will's brain. It was way more information than just the normal AI. listening to you. One element of the Searchlight app that made Robert proud was its ability to discover the source or track back whoever was actually listening to you. Usually, a retailer was attempting to use AI to generate more income. But when Robert traced the sleep waves that the Counting Sheepzzz app was using on Will, he uncovered something strange. What he initially thought was an anomaly. The waves going back into the Counting Sheepzzz app weren't heading to a retailer or focus group. Instead, they were flowing into another person, another human brain. Robert set to work to find that brain. Robert embedded tracer codes into his Searchlight app to be sent back into the Counting Sheepzzz app to gain more information. Will and Robert repeated their Counting Sheepzzz test in hibernation mode once again. It was pretty easy for Robert to determine that the sleep wave data that was going back into the Counting Sheepzzz app from Will was going to a location in Silicon Valley, 13 Zorkon Avenue to be exact, Zorkon's world headquarters. So now Robert faced two questions. Why was this happening? And what data were the sleep waves carrying back to the Counting Sheepzzz headquarters? Robert and Will made a bold decision. In order to understand all the people affected by the Counting Sheepzzz app, they would break the law. They would hack into the Counting Sheepzzz app and the Zorkon Corporation. The next time they performed their Counting Sheepzzz experiment, Robert would not only add tracing codes to Searchlight, but would also include monitoring software that could examine the inner workings of the Counting Sheepzzz app and Zorkon. This software would travel in small undetectable packets that Zorkon wouldn't notice. But once inside Zorkon's systems, the code would spread like a fungus, gaining the ability to move throughout the Counting Sheepzzz app and all of Zorkon's networks. Robert and Will would not immediately see the inner workings of the Counting Sheepzzz app and Zorkon, but they just had to patiently wait for the infiltration program to spread. After poking around in the Zorkon system a little longer, Robert discovers something overwhelming. Emotions wash over him, a familiar feeling he hasn't experienced in a long time. It feels like his dad is with him again.
I miss you. I love you.
He cries as this feeling overwhelms him, so powerful and real that he whispers,
It's me. I can feel my dad's soul. I miss you.
As he explores deeper, he finds Will's mom's musical talents and can hear her playing guitar. He discovers sympathy, nuance, creativity, musicality, design philosophies, art, literature, medical research, architecture, dreams, ideas, thoughts, love, sadness, joy, despair, happiness, and music. Beautiful music. A treasure trove of emotions and experiences from millions of unknown souls, all stored on Zorkon servers. The ghosts of people who are no longer. This concludes Counting Sheepzzz. 1.